They want us to think that we're an insignificant speck of dust, but let me tell you, we are so much more than dust in the wind.
At least 4 billion useless eaters will be eliminated by the year 2050.
I'm still waiting for somebody to show me gas pressure without a container.
I personally don't believe anything they say, right down to the God they claim they worship.
None of the math adds up.
You could stack up all their math books, all their science books, and even put all their degrees stacked up on top of that, and you still wouldn't be high enough to see the curvature.
This is exactly why grounding is so important.
We see too far.
We're just regular people who know we're being lied to. We're tired of it.
The bottom line is, there's only one choice left, and that's to dismantle this whole thing from the top down.
Yeah. So when he first came in, I was like, okay, the way this went down was like in the middle of a thread, comments like back and forth, and I don't know, I posted something about like a straw man thing, I think, or something kind of like that, and he's like, oh yeah, I got a great story. I sued the government. You sued the government, right, for like a ton of money.
It was members of the police.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, that sounds crazy. And you should come on the podcast. This was months and months ago.
Oh yeah, this is a while ago, man. This is
and he's like, well, I'm not done with the book yet. So when I finish the book, I'd love to come on. And then he got the book done recently, and he's like, hey man, the book's done. I'm like, oh wow, okay, cool. And I totally really kind of forgot where we were, so I did let him know that. Because Rufus is like, dude, I have no clue. You can tell he's like doing it through his teeth. He's like, hey, I have no idea what's going on here. And like,
yeah, I thought we were interviewing Jean-Claude Van Damme today.
Yeah,
we're doing her.
Yeah,
dude, look how good his shirt is, Rufus.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I noticed that.
So good.
I'm just this random Canadian. I'm nothing, right? And now after this show, I'm going to be like, I'm either going to be like the most beloved Canadian son or like the most Canada's most wanted. They're going to be like, we hate that guy. Who is that guy? We hate that guy.
No, man.
Yeah, you know what it was? It was a thread that you were getting a flat earth thread, and people were getting bombed back and forth. And I was tired of it. And I've been tired for years. Because this is when I came to flat earth, it was just like it was one more like thing. It was just like another piece of the puzzle. You just keep putting pieces together. Yeah. And I noticed how people, they like to just get one thing. It's just isolated. One argument. It's like, man, I've been working on this argument and this one 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 and this is where we are. And they try to isolate. And they were like bullying you. And it was just like I was getting just irritated because they'll ask the same questions or show me proof, but no, and they just totally ignore. They ignore, right? They ignore exactly what you say, right? And so I just said, hey man, I jumped in, and I remember saying something about, because I'm a plumber and a gas fitter by trade, so we have code books and everything, right? And I said I was tired of it. And I said, like, why does propane sink? Why does the gas of propane sink? And why does natural gas, methane, why does it rise? And then this other, know-it-all was like, well, that's because they're lighter than air and it's heavier than air. And I'm like, exactly. So what about gravity? And then another guy does an emoji with like the face palm. And I'm like, don't face palm me. Like that's why natural gas rises. Because it's heavier than air, it's lighter than air. It even says that in my code book. It says, the ether or air has a relative density of 1. So if it's a density of 0.6 or 0.5, that means it's going to start rising. Mm-hmm. Doesn't seem complicated. And so that was where part of my whole flat earth thing came around, because I was going to school at the time and I was dealing with this whole cop fiasco and the whole courts. And we'll get into that in a moment, because it's just an incredible story. And I'm glad I wrote a story. But when I was at school, I think it was right around third year, because it would have been around 2016, 2017. I can't remember exactly. It wasn't one of those things where the bell, the light bulb went off and I was like, oh my God, it was earth shattering. The earth is flat. Oh, it wasn't quite like that. It was just like, I got a text from my brother and he's like, hey man, what do you think about this whole earth being flat thing? And I was like, part of me was like, almost reverting back to how I used to be. I'll be like, I don't need this. It's more bullshit.
Yeah.
I got too much in my life, you know. But I was like, no, just take a deep breath. And I was like, no, I'm not going to text them back. I got vent stacks and I got stack vents and I got to worry about fixture units and how much pipe I can run before I got to upsize to 4-inch on how many toilets. Like I got plenty on my plate. But I was like, no, I'll think about it. And so when I got back and I was doing some stuff and he's like, you got to check out this Eric Dubé guy. And I'm like, you know what? Fine, cool, like whatever. Like, and I'm a pretty open-minded guy over the years. I blame it on my father because he was the opposite. He was just like, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
He's a typical boomer, right? These boomers, well, this is how it is. And we went to the moon and we did this. And the guy.
So true. So true, dude.
And I don't want to get too into the family thing, but my father and I,
Right.
we don't have a great relationship because of these stigmas and these things. And I put that in my book. I tried to make that. The book is kind of a bio, if you will. You know, there's definitely, I definitely put a piece of me in that book to try to explain, you know, how I've come about that. But
Okay.
But yeah, coming around to on the flat Earth, and that's where I jumped in on you guys, and I was just like, hey, no more bullying. Like this is bullshit. Like because we have technology now. Everything is advanced. I'm a bass fisherman. We were talking about bass fishing. If you look at a fishing reel and a fishing rod from 1975, you know, the year I was, you know, born versus now, it's not the same. You had our rocket ships and all these things. They're all the same, and this technology is the same. Or we can't even get there anymore. We don't have the technology. We got to wait for these super suits. Don't forget the super suits. I'm still waiting on the Mark 2.0 like piss and poo bag. Like, how do you get that to work? And then what do you do first? And like, you're like, what do you do? Like when you went to the moon, like were you wiping each other's bum in that, like in the side? It's like you're in a Volkswagen. You know what I mean? You're in a, like when you look at the moon landing, like after all these years of technology, you're like, wow, I was totally hoodwinked. Like that thing's got like gold foil and curtain rod.
I know, dude.
And, like, how did you get the moon dune buggy in that thing? And then why'd you leave it there? Like, why don't you start cleaning up the moon first before you start charging me a carbon tax? Like, why do I have to worry about the environment here when you fucked it up in 1969? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And all these things happen, and you just start putting all these little things together, and then you start questioning your friends, or you start saying this, and I'm like the guy at the movies being like, "That's not how it happened," you know? Oh, he couldn't have done that. And I think it gets to the point where people are like they don't want to hear it, or they get there on their own, or they have their own journey, and that's where I've come to. I wrote my book, I put it out there. I haven't really done any like advertising. I still have to figure out how to actually get it. Like turned into a book. It's just online. So,
Okay.
You know, I have a lot. I thought writing the book was like the hardest thing I've ever done. That was just the beginning. Now I got to get this thing published. And now I got to figure out how to get it edited and get it. And then I got to market it. But I want to try to give it to the public for as free as possible. I think I have a story that is really good, is really compelling. And this all is my story. And so like Flat Earth is part of it. It's really like, had this not happened to the cops, had they not thrown away all the evidence and refused to admit that the audio, you know, was doctored, and you know, I don't think I would have been the same person. But seeing this and having, you know, like 9/11 and the Space Shuttle Challenger and how the astronauts are still alive, they didn't even change their name.
Yeah. So before you get into the book, you did say, but when we got together here earlier, that you were there, you saw the shuttle.
So the day before, my parents, we flew down. We were in a town, city called Toronto, and we flew down to Florida, and we stayed, and we went to Disney World and went to an alligator farm. And the day before, we went to Cape, or is it called Cape Canaveral?
Yep.
Yeah. And so we stood across. From the launching pad area, and I remember there was like hermit crabs on the beach because you get salt water, and we have on the anyway. And so I just distinctly remember I wasn't even almost paying attention because it was just everybody was just kind of humming and hawing, and the wind was blowing, and they weren't sure if it was going to launch, and we were probably there. We were probably there for a good 20 minutes, half an hour, and then it was like pretty much. So everybody kind of left, and then my brother and I were happy playing with the hermit crabs and running around on the shore, on the beach and stuff like that. And then the next day, we went to Walt Disney World, and we were on that rocket one where it looks like the Apollo, and it's got the little rocket that spins around or whatever.
Yeah.
I just got off, And I looked at my brother, and the guy, he's standing there like one of the Walt Disney World, and he said, "So did you hear the shuttle blew up?" And my ears were just like, "Whoop, what?" like what? Like it's just like, oh, like I'm the first to know. There's no way mom and dad know. I've got some, interesting information. And so I grabbed my brother and I was like, let's go tell mom and dad. And sure enough, tell them. And well, that changes everything for my boomer parents. So off we go to the hotel or the motel and turn on the TV, so we could see it with our own
Isn't that
eyes.
incredible? You guys dropped everything you were doing.
Woo! Right?
Right? To go and watch it on TV. Here, you were there the day before, but no, everybody's got to stop what they're doing. Let's all pay attention to the fact that these guys went up there knowing the risks.
And gals.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's true, because there's something to that, because
right.
They had a teacher, and so they were posting it in all the schools.
Yeah,
right?
this was like this big deal.
It was the first time they ever rolled the TVs into the classrooms and made kids watch them. The first time ever.
It's a psyop, right? It's trauma-based mind control.
Yes.
People are crying.
Sir.
Did you see what
Yes,
happened? And
sir.
I was so happy. I was so happy because I was like, I ain't gonna be an astronaut. Fuck that. I'm not doing the maths and shit or whatever. Don't have to be an astronaut. So yeah, I was kind of. But yeah, so I was in Florida when the thing exploded, and then I thought it was the funniest thing because my uncle, I had this crazy uncle, and he would be like a conspiracy theorist. Mm-hmm. And we visited not long after, and he said, "Do you know why those astronauts? They knew those astronauts had dandruff." And my brother and I are like, "Huh?" And he's like, "Yeah, they found Head and Shoulders all over the beach." Oh. So yeah, back in the day, little humor. But anyway, so
do you think he knows the real truth now?
You know what? He told me years later, oh yeah, they were still talking to them when that thing was falling or exploding. And it's
really?
Like, were they even on it or whatever? He got into the internet before it was the internet. It was called bulletin boards. They did it was right before the main internet. You would go on I couldn't even remember. I wasn't
that's new to me too. But
that was back in the days.
And I remember the dial-up. So
Yeah, it would have been that. It would have been
right. Yeah, and then you probably just
would have been almost like a prehistoric Reddit. I think.
Okay. It makes sense. That makes sense.
But anyway, he was always out there. My uncle Rick. He was a pretty interesting cat. But anyway,
nice. I think we all had a cool uncle.
Dude, right? You gotta have a cool. You gotta have someone kind of out there, right? Just kind of hey, there's still hope in the family. Not everybody's straight.
Mine always used to tell my dad to calm down and stuff. Like, just relax, dude. Right. He's just a kid. This and that. And,
I feel like the normies of the family call him the weird uncle, though. Not the cool. They don't call him the cool uncle.
No.
Yeah, he was significantly younger than all the rest of the siblings. So, he was already the all ball out. He should have, you weren't even supposed to happen kind of thing. He's like, oh, yeah?
Yeah, everyone just stay away from Uncle Tom over there, all right?
Leave at Christmas. Don't get him drunk. Stay there.
He always had the sweetest mullet, too. Damn. Anyway, so let's get into this book.
Okay.
Or if you want, I don't know how you want to lay it out, with the story wise and how this happened. You could just tell it like it happened, dude. Because all I know is it caught my attention. I was like, wow.
Thanks, man.
Wow.
Yeah, it's I'll just keep saying refer to the book because it's right there on my website. Justcallmestu.com. I mean, anybody can go there. I try to do a blog. Justcallmestu.com.
Okay.
Real simple. And I try to do a blog, and it's just writing is hard. I'm not going to say it's easy, and I'm not writing just for the sake of writing. So I kind of shelved the blog, but I did finish the book. It took me a long time to do it, and I thought it was really important for a number of reasons. Actually, the first and foremost being this police station. It's the Saskatoon Police Service. It's the city of Saskatoon in the province of Saskatchewan in the country of Canada, because I know you guys are in the States and you have a worldwide audience. So Saskatchewan's basically right in the middle of Canada, kind of almost smack dab. And it gets really cold. You've heard the stories about Canada, and it does. It gets really cold. And a really sinister part of the Saskatoon Police Service, there's a large Native population in much of Canada, Indigenous people or Aboriginals, depends on the terms. You guys maybe say things differently here. We may call them Indigenous, but Native Americans. So they have, there's stigmas, and I'm not going to get into that. I touched upon it really briefly in my book, but it wasn't a part of the book. It's except to lay out the groundwork, lay out the framework. It'd be you have to understand the people you're dealing with, right? We're not
set
talking
the stage. That's what you're.
Thank you. Absolutely. Right. And we're not talking like, weeks or months. We're talking years and years, if not like bordering on like hundreds of years since like the beginning of Canada itself. And I kind of just wanted to touch a little bit about the history of Canada because, we don't necessarily get that. But these people have been somewhat maligned. I don't want to get too political.
Okay.
But Saskatoon police were driving members of the Indigenous population out to the city limits in the middle of winter. Okay. And so in the middle of winter in Canada, it gets down to -40 without the wind chill. And that's when -40 Celsius, because we'd have the metric system in Canada. So that's when -40 Celsius kind of flips to -40 Fahrenheit. So my American counterparts, they understand how cold it is. I have a story about America too. I was in Kansas for a little while, tried to play some baseball. I'll tell you about the flattest province in the country is Saskatchewan. And Kansas is the flattest state in America, and I've lived in both of them. So I was in a town.
He was always right there. It was always there.
Right? God works or the great creator, or the great architect.
God creator, yes.
He works in mysterious ways. But anyway, these people have basically they'll be drunk or vagrants or whatever. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're violent. It doesn't matter if you're Charles frickin' Manson. It doesn't matter if you're Jeffrey Dahmer. Just because they find body parts in your freezer, not that they found anything in my freezer or anything in the car. They didn't find no dead hookers. There's no dead hookers and no machine guns. But even if they did, I still have rights. That's kind of how it works. Yeah. That's that's guilty until
even in Canada.
No, it's innocent until proven guilty. That's how it works. We've Magna Carta. We've got over this couple hundred years.
Does Trudeau know that though?
Oh, dude, I mean, this happened a while ago, right?
Okay, all right. So I like to take a shot at that dude any minute.
Please feel free. Feel free. You know what? We'll segue. Make a note. Like stop about.
We'll segue back to him. Yeah, we'll get
back to Trudeau because I got a couple questions I'd like to ask Trudeau. But anyway, so these guys, they were actually busted. Basically, they got caught. Members of the Saskatoon Police Service were busted, and a really famous. I shouldn't even say famous. That's not the right word. But Neil Stonechild was a young boy, 17, maybe 18. And I'm not going to speak on it too much, but they found him dead. Then they botched the investigation. They botched it all up. And we'll handle this and we'll do this. And then, they actually burnt like his jacket or some of his evidence. They didn't talk to the family. And there's a bunch of books written about this. Like I don't think I have any here, but I've got some from the library or read online. But this is
what they were disappearing people out to the tundra, or what was going on?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And then they died.
Wow.
Yeah. Like you're like -40, bro. Like -40 Fahrenheit or -40 Fahrenheit. You tell me how long you got.
Why were they doing this?
If you got a jean jacket. Okay. I'm not going to speculate. That's all I can do is speculate as much as
right. That's fine. That's fine. What do you think?
Because there was, I'll tell you what I read, right, in a bunch of different books where they say, like they get tired, they get fed up and tired of these miscreants, always getting up to no good, blah 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 blah. And yeah, man, if you've had a bad day at the office, like your squad car, and like you're gonna take it out on somebody, that's not the right way to do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like there's something to be said about like freezing to death. Doesn't matter how intoxicated you are. And so that's just I just had to preface that, right? Like, right. I've never been a huge fan of the police only because it's an abuse of authority. Like, I've always understood like your levels of authority, and authority is not even the right word, but it's like, what side of the road do you drive on? Like, not everybody can just choose which side of the road they want to drive on. Like, you kind of have to agree on certain things. And so I get that with like law and order, and that's right. We can even say about these sovereign people or the common law or whatever. Like, do no harm, cause no loss, right? Like, as long as I don't, try to put your children into bad situations, or as long as I don't try to, commit fraud against you by lying, or selling you a pig in a poke, or telling you this car is totally fit for for travel, but it's totally with missing bearing. You know what I mean? Like, right, harm. Do no harm, cause no loss. Whatever you do, I think Dave, you guys spoke with allegedly Dave. I'm going to drop some names if that's okay, because lots of these guys are like, you have to think and hear what people are saying and walk in their shoes and don't take it personally. Like, if you have that ego, most of this will blow your mind. You will not have constructive like quality conversations with people. You'll get triggered. There'll be emotional triggers. There'll be catalysts, that things that just can't handle, like words. I make mention in my book, words are swords. Words, you spell, you're using spelling, you cast spells with words. Like, it's very important. Same with, what do they call it? Like gematria, like numbers.
Yeah.
Like, they don't mess around with that. Even if you don't think, it's like, you know what? Even if you don't think like Satanism or Luciferian, or you don't think that the people running this world are have bad intentions, they do. If you don't believe that, that's fine. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and try to grab you and shake you and say, oh yeah, don't you know? No, like, they have bad intentions.
Right.
If you want to wake up, great. Like, get with reality with the rest of us. But they don't. They live in denial. It's like COVID. Can I say that out loud? The jab and
I don't think there's anything that can't be said now. I think that's it.
I had friends who were like quite proud to get the jab and got all my family jabbed and it's like, man, like, all I told you is just, don't take it right away. Oh yeah, just get the first one you see. It's like getting a car or like buying a stock. Well, just get the first one. What do you mean? Oh yeah, I'll just get that stock. Just get the stock, ABC stock. Well, I just got here. Oh yeah, no, and that's why I didn't trust the government. I was like, they're pushing it harder than a guy would push cocaine. I'd be like, I wouldn't, even if I did cocaine, I wouldn't buy it from you.
Not that cocaine.
Exactly.
Like, oh yeah, you get a donut,
something's
and
up
you get
with
a
that,
lap
man.
dance, and you get a beer. You get your donut on top of the beer while you get a lap dance. They'll just shoot it in the other arm. Like, no. Like,
Yeah, by now everyone should know you don't go for the first model. There's always, they got to work the kinks out a little bit first.
Just buy this stock. Don't worry. Oh, and then you can mix and match. Remember, for 25 years, don't ever mix and match your medication.
So,
just one in this arm.
So basically, these and you call them police. We'll call them police, but these people were kicking these people out in the cold, and saying that was their version of cleaning up the area, right? Cleaning up the streets.
I guess
and
so.
doing that. So basically what they should be doing in San Francisco, but they're not, basically. To an extent. I'm just kidding. So where did you get involved in this? How did you?
Yeah, so it was basically like Power Police.
Before that, one question I want to know, because I think there's an important clarification. The police force, whatever they are that you're talking about, are they elected or are they just hired? Like, we have sheriffs who are elected, and then we have regular police, like sheriff, or the regular cops that are just hired by a board or whatever.
Yeah, we have I guess you could say three. We have what are called federal, which are the RCMP. You've probably heard
it's like our FBI.
Yep.
I guess, but they're the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and I kind of alluded to them in the book as well. And then I didn't really necessarily have a beef with them, but they kind of introduced themselves into my situation and and so I put that in the book. And then the Saskatoon Police Service are a city police.
Okay. And
then there's also a sheriff department where they would deal with like prisoners, and they would deal with transportation between jails or courthouses and stuff like that. So I dealt with the Saskatoon Police Service, who were responsible. Members of the Saskatoon Police Service were responsible for the death of Neil Stonechild, among others, and other things. Like, just there were plenty of people that got left out in the cold, and they were able to make it back. You know what I mean?
And tell what happened.
Exactly. And then they were believed, and et cetera, et cetera. And so, and it gets into everything. I mean, it was like Dave Murphy said, you just get all over the place, like Freemasonry and how these people are getting away with things and who's breaking the rules, and, the wonderful thing, rules for thee and not for me, or, and so it was like these things that were coming about in 9/11. I talked about this in my book, and different things like that. And like when I was a kid, it was like, I respected people who had their own like point of view. And there was a guy named Ernst Zundel, and he was a very famous sort of Canadian guy. And he said the Holocaust, he was a revisionist, and I respected him almost for the fact where he was just like, this is what I believe. This is what I found out. This is what I think. And now we kind of see that, like there is revisionist history, and, some things kind of come out from that. And so all these little things kind of led to that, where I was like, this system doesn't work for us. This system and the police and the enforcers and the law.
So this is the fuel that gave you the
you know, it was all these little things. And
Like
9/11, like 9/11 was another one. Like you guys remember, like you weren't getting the answers from the media. Like, and the media is another system, right? Like you just weren't getting. You were left longing. And I remember going to parties with buddies, and we were like, let's watch this movie, or let's watch this video, or let's watch what somebody else has to say. And so it's all these little things that kind of get going. And then that's when I really came upon, like, this is the system of like the straw man, and you're a corporation, and it's all these safety statutes and for your health and your safety. And it was like the traffic safety, you know, you got to put your seatbelt on, you can't speed. And then you look back in the like the 70s with like Nixon, you know, and they had the oil embargo, and they had to keep the speed limits down because we got to save the oil. You know, we're going to run out of oil, right? And it was all these things. And you're like, man, like this has nothing to do with anything about safety, or you're just trying to control my life. And that's when I was getting in, like, I wouldn't say I was a rebellious kid, but growing up with your old man, you try to get questions and answers from your old man, and that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. It doesn't matter how many times you ask them. That's just the way it is. You know, we pay our taxes, and we you know, I can't even think right now. The clock is ticking. You know, what have you accomplished? Like that's the way it is. Move on with your life.
So true.
Right. But anyway, and I love my father deep down, but we you know, it is. But anyway, and so that's when all through growing up, it was almost like you're conflicted, like you're gay or something. You're like, oh, fuck, I got all these questions, and I don't understand what's going on with the world. And people are like, oh, maybe you're gay. No, I'm not that. And I know I'll never do heroin. I know that. There's something afoot. You know, there's something weird and greasy and some really mischievous shit going on here. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I don't laugh here. I'm laughing so hard I'm crying. But anyway, so I got into this whole power of police and this whole like the Canada, because we have all these acts. So you have like the Hunting Act, the Hunting and Fishing Act, you know, the Commerce Act. It's all these acts. I put it in my book, of course. But that's how they get you, because on your driver's license, and that's another one, this is driver. You're a driver. It's the driver. It's the Traffic Safety Act. You're not you know, you're not Bill or Ted. You know, I'm not James. I'm James Stewart, capital, right? I'm a driver now, right? So when
you're driving in their system,
right. And I'm not offering any legal evidence here or any legal advice. Sorry, but when they come and they pull you over with emergency lights. So it's not an emergency, even if you're speeding. But you're speeding, right? It's safety, or in my case, it was like a seatbelt or something, right? And then they pull you over with emergency lights, and they come to your door. And then they knock on your door and they say, you roll your window down or whatever. And then you do it right away, because you just, and the badge and the gun and the shiny lights.
Right.
As soon as you do that, it's kind of like you've basically acquiesced. You've basically said, oh, okay, he's telling me what to do now. Because I'm just the driver and I don't know any better. So, you know what I mean? And I got tired of that, because they do all kinds of things. Anyway, so I didn't do what they wanted to do, and that's when, you know, I was just like, no, this is how, you know, driver's license. Anyway, long story short, I didn't like the power tripping, right? I didn't like all that. So it's just been a fundamental. Well, now in Canada we have basically mandatory breathalyzers. So at any time they can pull you over, at any time, and make you blow the breathalyzer. And if you refuse, it goes as a refusal to blow, and you get out of the car, take the car, and you're done.
Right.
So 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock at night, it doesn't matter. So like, this is the power of the police. But anyway, the long story short was when, you know, they arrest you with all this stuff, and they're not really police. They're traffic safety enforcement officers, right? They're no longer police acting as to serve and protect. They've been hired by the local authority, rented really, and then they hand out traffic tickets and traffic fines. And so in my book, I got into one because I was really starting to learn. That was really part of it. I had kind of like an experiment, if you will. It was like a project. I was like, well, how much of this is really true? Like, how much of this is really correct? Like, let's say I do go to the traffic court, and it's not a real court as you'd think it was a courtroom, and I use my straw man account, or I do all this different, and sure enough, it's kind of working like that. It's like, this is how they get these people, because this is what they do. It's a revenue generating outfit, right?
Sure, yeah.
They're a company, they're a corporation, and what do corporations do? Make money. With no liability, right? Limited liability corporation. Make all the money, do all the jabs. Oh, it's not our fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, it's all that kind of stuff. But anyway, so I did this thing with this car, and I wrote about it in my book, and I bought a cheap car from an ex-girlfriend at the time, and I didn't put insurance on it. I didn't register it. I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna drive it. And then I got manhandled by the cops, and then they wrote a bunch of shit about me, and I was like, like,
wait, how'd you get pulled over?
well, I didn't have my seatbelt on, right? And
Okay. So you're just going
trying, right?
balls
So I
out.
had a shitty license plate, yeah, right?
Were you flipping them off too? Like,
No. I put the whole thing. I can't remember what chapter. It might have been like chapter 8 or something, or chapter 10. I had to set it up a little bit, but explain to the reader a few things. But they noticed the V, not having the V, and I wanted to try it. I was like, it's safety, right? Like, if you're just driving, they have no reason to just pull you over, right? Oh, he's black. No, they can't do that, right? Like, unless your car is like belching smoke or like flames are coming out or whatever, or you've got like an unsafe load, right? Because it's all about safety. It'd be like if you're speeding or if you're stunting, or if they believe you're intoxicated, like you're swerving or whatever like that.
Right.
Like, they have a duty and an obligation, because it's not just you, it's the people and around, right?
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, if you're just driving and you don't have any insurance, everybody else has insurance. Like, you're just driving. What's the crime? Like we talked about it earlier, right? Like, allegedly, Dave, like, no harm, no loss. It was like, originally, back in the day, there was no drunk driving. There was no such thing as drunk driving. Like, I had an uncle that would get pickled, and he would literally open the door and like drive down the road and be able to look at the yellow line to make sure he was, and he didn't live far. Like, he'd drive to work, and on the way home from work, he stopped at the pub. Old Scottish guy. Like, I'm a son of an immigrant, right? Like, all my family's from Scottish, so right, they love to drink and shit, right? So he would drive all the way, and then not even halfway home from work, stop at the pub, drink till he was fucking senseless, and then drive home. He did it for years. With no harm, no foul. And everybody's like, "Oh, James, like, that's dangerous. That's this." But there was no such thing as drunken driving, and even the government couldn't do it, so they had to create Mothers Against Drunk Driving, which is this other, these NGOs, right? And they tug on your heartstrings, and they do all this stuff. Oh, the mothers, and then lo and behold, this common law has been, and now we have what do we have? We have like this maritime admiralty law. We have a basically commercial law, right? Mm-hmm. Or we have law of the sea, and then they can commercialize everything. They can put a price, put a profit.
Rules of a corporation. That's what they really are. Bylaws.
Right? I feel like I'm rambling. I don't mean to. Please feel free to cut me off or whatever. But
so you get pulled over, right?
And so that was the first time I got pulled over, and they fuck, man. And I told them, I said, look, man, I've read this. I've read the Traffic Safety Act. Like, I know what your rules are. I know what my rules are. Like, this is like, it was middle of January. It was freezing cold. And I was stupid. I didn't bring like a jacket and mitts and everything. I just drove to work.
You're like,
and then they're like, well, we're taking your car. And I'm like, no, you can't take my car, man. Like, I'm like 60, 70 kilometers from home. So that's a kilometer.
No, wait, is it because you had no seatbelt and no proof of insurance?
Yeah.
Car wasn't registered.
You don't write tickets. They just take your car up there.
No, they write you tickets.
And take the car.
Oh yeah. Oh
gosh.
And then so I wrote about this in the book. And then lo and behold, I'm on the side of the highway, the busy highway, middle of January, 4:30, whatever, after work. Like, this is after work. So everybody's going home after work. Lo and behold, like, people from work are driving by. Next thing you know, my boss drives by, and then he's like, burp, burp, decides to back up the highway. I'm like, and I'm on my knees already, because I told these guys, I was like, man, you can't take my car. Like, I'm so far away from home. I'm fucked right now. What do you, and that's what it says. And I put that in the book, because I had to basically put as much as I could in the book. And I felt like a nerd. I was just like, well, but here it is. And in there it says, you can get a notice of seizure and a notice of seizure and direction, or you can get a notice of seizure and there's another word for it, and I can't think of it. But they take it from you completely. Yeah. But it says, but you can't leave the person in hardship. And you're like, that makes sense, because it's called the Traffic Safety Act for a reason. You can't leave people and just fucking jack their car, because even if it's belching smoke, to be like, hey, we got to get you a ride home. So I told them, I walked up to the side of the car. There's two dudes, right? And I'm like, I got my hands in my pockets. I just got my coveralls on. And the guy's like, take your hands out of your pockets. I'm like, guy, it's cold. Like, it's like wind's blowing. It's Saskatchewan. People who live in Saskatchewan in the middle of January, they understand. And I'm like, guy, it's cold. Like, You know, like just
Right.
give me the tickets and I'll go home and I'll deal with this. You know, it's just my little project. Whatever. Oh no, get away from the car. I feel unsafe. Get your hands out of your pockets. You can have a weapon.
Wow.
Like, holy guy, like you are fucking ridiculous. And I'm like, I didn't take my hands out of the pockets almost because of that. Because I'm like, really, guy? And then that was it. Boom. He boots open the door. He caught me with my, because I'm like right against. I'm like, guy, because he rolled the window down like this much. Remember that, people, when they ask you to roll the window down. Because I walked up to the cop and he's like, rolls the window down this much.
Right. It's true. That's so true. They do that. You're right. They absolutely do.
Can I have my keys, please? Like, I don't like, you know, anyway. And so, yeah, boots out the door, boom, boom, gets me in an armbar. I'm arresting you for being stupid. You're being redundant. I'm tired of listening to you. No. I'm like, holy shit. And then lo and behold, God has a sense of humor, or, you know, the great creator has a sense of humor. My boss pulls right up. And there I am down on my hands and knee, or like down on my hands, you know, 2 cops just berating me like I'm some hardened criminal. I've never been pulled over for anything, right? I think I've got like 1 speeding ticket my whole life, right? No DUI, no nothing. And then, you know, my boss is like, what's the deal? Like, here's my employee. And he's like, he's getting jackbooted at the side of the road. Yeah. And this cop is all too happy. He doesn't have insurance. His license is expired, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, dude, like, have I hurt anybody? And he's like, that's enough from you. I'm like, holy fuck. But anyway, so we got all through that and I fought all those tickets and I got their notes. And that's when I figured out that they put in all kinds of shit. Because I had this little knife, you know, like one of those little open knives that have like the little, it's like a carpet cutter, box cutter.
Box cutter. Right. Yeah.
The one that they use.
That's funny because I carry one everywhere. So
right, the one that they used to bring down all those airplanes and then the train.
That would be the one.
Zorro or whatever, you know, box cutters. Those box cutters, professional. Not those made in China box cutters. Like, you know.
Oh yeah, these are like you had the cream of the crop.
Right, like mine had
plane hijacking box cutter.
Right?
Like yours had weapons,
I can
more weapons
understand.
in the back of it, right? Yeah. You open up the back.
They were blessed by Allah. That's what it was.
Right? At night they glowed. I'm telling you, man, like they're awesome. And so that's what his excuse was. He's like, do you have a weapon? Do you have a weapon on you? And I'm like, yeah, man. I have my plumber's knife. Like, I'm a fucking plumber. Like, I'm not a terrorist. You know, like I deal with people's shit. Oh, that's it. And they grab my hoodie and fucking wrestle my knife out of my. I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm in handcuffs and everything. It was unbelievable. And I'm like, all this because I didn't have a seatbelt and because
for your safety.
Right. And because my car wasn't registered. And so luckily my boss drove me across the other side of town where I knew some people at a restaurant. Mm-hmm. And then I was able to take some of my gear and it was great. I wrote that in my book. It was great. Got in there and that was right then. And I was like, this is out of control. I was like, this isn't about safety. I was like, now I'm fucked for work tomorrow. I don't know how I'm going to get home tonight because my brother, like that was a car. He doesn't have a working car. We're just, you know, everybody's got their stories, whatever. And so I was just like, man, and I remember, and I wrote that in my book and I was just like, you know, don't talk to the police. Don't deal with the shit. But I was more like motivated than ever. You know what I mean? I'm really onto something because the more you talk about knowing your rights or not even so much talking about, but like the more you just explain yourself or stand on your rights, be like, no, you can't do that to me. Like no is a very powerful word. You know how it's only in the English language or in the alphabet, like A, B, C, D, E. No, that's the only word. I guess hi. You know what I mean? No, and nobody knows that word.
No, that's all you
need. Right? That's all you got to know when you talk to the police. Hi and no. That's all you got to do.
All right there.
No legal advice here. No legal advice here. But anyway, so that made me more motivated. And so I wrote that in my book. And so I tried to fight those tickets. And I got into this whole traffic court and if it's real court and this thing called disclosure. And that's when you get evidence given to you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I watched how they. And I've said it in my book. I'm just going to keep saying that. Sorry. I'm very proud of my book.
It's all in his book. We're going to put the link where to find his book. Dude.
Right.
Oh, and just for the record, how many podcasts have you done before this one?
This is the first.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Dude,
no idea.
If you ever wanna, like, if you're ever having a bad day and you just want to feel better about yourself, go back and listen to our first podcast.
I watched them. They're awesome. You guys, honestly, you guys are great. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here. And I'm
I just wanted everybody to know that, because if it's a nervous thing or whatever, it's fine, dude. Like, we deal with it all the time, and I still deal with it before I come on. So
you can edit all the bad spots. I trust you.
No, man, but you like to keep it as raw as possible.
Cool. That sounds just fun.
So,
yeah, Bill's still going through puberty, so you're good, bro.
They actually detuned my voice down a little.
I'll try to keep my F-bombs down. I'll try to keep my F-bombs down. But yeah, no, thanks so much.
F-bombs are cool. Just watch the J-bombs, because that gets you kicked off. That gets you kicked off sites.
Right?
I mean, we never do, but whatever.
No, totally. That's fine. That's fine. But anyway, so I got really motivated, and that's really what led me to. There was a bit of like the sovereign thing, and just trying to figure out like what your roles are, like who you are as a citizen. What's the government? I pay my taxes. Excuse me, I pay my taxes.
Yeah.
Like what's this taxation without representation? Like show me what I'm getting. Show me how this is working. And so this happened. The original incident, I call it the incident. This happened August 24th, 2012. And so it's been this long, really, in the goings. But I was done with my court and finished with, like, I did the court part, and then like the criminal court part, and then I've done the civil part where I sued them. And that'll be my second book. So I'm working on my second book, and that's still just over here. But I've got a bunch of it going. But I think it's really important that people need to hear that, and especially for you guys too in America, because you have like your Miranda rights. Like you guys take that shit really seriously. Like that's one thing I really respect about America, is you guys really like know what freedom is. Like you really value it, you really understand it, and it means something to you. It's like part of your culture, if you will. Like it's a tradition. And I don't necessarily know if Canadians are really. I think we've been so swamped in the last 25 years with so much multicultural and immigrant. I'm going to be called a racist now and a bigot and stuff, but I just don't necessarily know that Canadians really have that same sort of. I wouldn't even necessarily say courage, but sort of grasp.
But what about the trucker rally? How do you feel about that? Do you think that was a show, or?
Yeah,
like,
maybe.
I would say from being, I mean, we all awaken more every single day. But at that time, I was kind of embarrassed for America, because I was like, Canadians are doing something and we're not doing shit. We're just sitting back and taking it. Canadians, hey. How's it going, eh? Those people, like,
right? Sorry,
so I don't know. Yeah.
The boot hook and a horn.
Yeah. No, I've been to Canada many times, and I actually think it's a beautiful place. I will say that the people who work in your convenience stores right off the border are dickheads. That's all I'm saying.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because we walked in and someone was on the phone speaking English, and I was vegan at the time, so I asked him about ingredients because it was all in French, and he's like, "No English." I was like, "All right, all right, bro."
I can't lie. When you guys like Quebec is like its own country inside a country. I'll probably take a lot of flack for that too. So we have like francophones and anglophones, and Quebec's like not even like a multilingual, because Quebec is just French, but it's New Brunswick that's multi. They have French and English. It's really kind of messed up. But yeah, Canada's a good time. I've been coast to coast. I've lived at PEI. The only place I haven't been is Newfoundland, and one day I want to go. They say the moose. There's like one moose for every two people or something out in Newfoundland there, eh, bye? So where the catfish are. So yeah, I would love to do that. Maybe this is like, you know what, guys, like this is show. Maybe I'll be able to come back in a year with my second book, and this would be like the springboard to be like, guys, like you helped me go coast to coast with Canada. Like Canadians need to hear this. Like this guy got fucked right over.
So you did not get arrested that time, right? Your boss basically gave you a ride to where they didn't have to take you in and all that. And so you sued them okay, not yet. Okay, so we're at the point. Oh, this was the first time around. You got to understand how it works, right? With discovery and all that. See their side, see their notes, what they had on you.
Starting
right?
to, absolutely.
Right. Yeah. As you're putting it together with what your rights are as a citizen / what other rights you have as a sovereign citizen, right? Like you're putting this
Yeah,
all together.
or just it wasn't even so much the sovereign thing. Like I only mentioned that because I was like I got introduced to it. And
Right. So it was a springboard for the
people were talking about, right? Where they would be like, your laws don't apply to me and this and that, and I'm not allegiant to the
right.
Queen, shit like that.
I've seen people do that, and then the next thing they're in the car, like,
yeah. Like
so yeah,
right. And so it wasn't like that because I'm a Canadian. Like I think I think what I was raised and what I was taught, what Canada was, and certainly America. Like when I was a kid, like I watched Chuck Norris and I watched Red Dawn, and I watched those shows and I was like, yeah, Canada and America and we stand for this and we're we're the good guys. And I still like that about Canada. Like I really think there's something to be said about this country. So I would consider myself a patriot and not like a sovereign. You know what I mean? Like I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy with some of the rules and stuff. But this last little bit and like what I talked about was this overpower of police, like this police,
overstepping
over the top. Right, it's an overstepping of the bounds, and so that's where I started having some real issues. And you see in the States too, like there's some beatings. They play the game with like George. I think George Floyd anniversaries coming up, and nobody even knows. Like, but it's all about police, right? And so they play that game. But anyway, so I went to this incident. That was where this whole book came, and that was August. And so my brother and I did the same thing. We didn't have the right license plate on the car, but we weren't speeding. We both did our seatbelts on.
Now, were you doing it intentionally? You were like, we're going to do this knowing that something may happen and we're prepared for it, and very careful to obey the laws otherwise.
100%. And I'm glad you said that, Teddy, because in the glove box, I basically written a letter that basically said, like, I'm not really going to listen to you. Just give me the ticket. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, we're not here. I don't really accept your authority as police because right now you're not police. You're traffic safety enforcement officers.
I feel like that's important for people to know. If you're going to do 100%. Anything like this, be prepared. Don't just go like, well, these are my rights, screw them, and then just go out and drive and then be like, no.
Oh yeah, I watched some YouTube, man. I watched like
they just hold the phone out. They're like, yes, you're getting recorded. Just so you know, you're being recorded.
Yeah,
like just recorded. Like that's great. That's great. Well, I hope it catches me when I slam you to the ground.
So I did, right? And so I did as much as I could. I tried to explain as much as I could in my book. I wanted to let the reader know, like I wasn't hiding anything. This was a situation, and I knew what they could do. Like I knew my rights. I knew the situation.
That's kind of why I wanted to point it out because you're openly saying, which I feel is important. Like I was doing these things and gambling. I knew something was going to come up, but you got to test it. You got to see. You got to try. You have to. So sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's great. I thank you for saying that. You're absolutely right. I wrote that in my book. I said if you don't exercise something, like if you don't, it goes flat. It goes limp. You know what I mean? If you don't use it, then you lose it. And if you don't exercise your rights, you don't know what you're doing. Everybody, I was the same. I mean, when I was 15, 16, 17, like, I want to get my driver's license. You don't know any better. You don't go and start.
You think that's freedom. My license will be freedom. Yeah. When is a license freedom? But you don't know that at the time.
No, like I was. What did Dave call them? Muggles. I was a muggle. I'm not some stupid, but I started putting things together and all, So anyway, so we got to that situation where I was just like, hey, it was actually my truck because I kind of acquiesced. I'd been like, whatever, we'll get insurance for my truck. I have a Ranger and we'll just do that. And it turns out that they didn't get the part. And it was Friday. It was a Friday night. It was my brother's birthday the next day. And I was just like, man, let's just fucking go. Like, we'll go up to town. We'll have some dinner. We'll see some friends. And we'll come home.
Which you should be able to do with no problems. Yes.
Dude, like I paid my gas. I put the gasoline in. I paid, I did all that.
You paid the tax on the gas. Yeah.
Right. I love you guys. This is great. I'm having such a good time. So we drove up there, and then this guy, they have they're unmarked cars. You guys are the same, like ghost cars or unmarked cars or whatever.
Yeah, buddy.
Right. Yeah, buddy. Lightweight, baby. Lightweight. And so
cloaked pigs, whatever you want to call them.
I say hi when I see them all the time.
Right?
Like, hey.
And so they have these things called the ALPR, and we call them ALPR beep beep. It's the ALPR, so it's the automatic license plate reader.
Oh yeah.
my brother and I, we make fun of it because we call it the beep beep. Because when you think about it, they'll park fucking wherever. It's fucking sneaky.
Yeah, and just as you go by.
As you go by, right? And they can do, like, you can look it up. I learned all this from getting disclosure and getting all this inside information from these motherfuckers. And all using taxpayer money. They pay for all these cameras, they pay for all this equipment, all taxpayer money. Oh yeah, no problem. And then when it came to any information for me, nothing to see here, folks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, ridiculous. So anyway, I sued them about the cameras and about everything, and I found out all this stuff. And so that evening in that parking lot, they basically said that Jarvis and I didn't identify ourselves. But then they made the audio disappear. So that unmarked car had a audio, it had a camera in it, and it was installed in November of the previous year, November 2011. We were pulled over, not even pulled over. We parked in this parking lot, and the guy came in behind us, which is a no-no. And that car was the first car, and that's the only video you see, and I've posted that to my website. But those cameras had 3 microphones. They have an inside microphone for the inside of the car. They have an officer lapel wireless microphone. So if he has to go on a chase, like if he has to go on a foot chase or if he has to leave the vehicle, it has a 1 kilometer radius on that car. And then there's an outside microphone on that car. And so they said that my brother refused to identify himself. And we're like, okay, well, let's just hear the audio. And they're like, oh no, we don't have it. That's literally how juvenile. That's literally where we're
I mean,
at.
it's almost like NASA losing the telemetry data to go to the moon. You know, we're sorry, we can't show you.
and so what was really terrible is because they assaulted me. They beat me up and they charged me with assault times 2. And so you charge me with assault times.
Wait, back up. Are we missing some key?
So around
parts
yes,
like,
just out of everything else, out of all the court case and everything, just in the next however long it takes, 30 seconds or a minute, tell the story of that night or day or whatever it was.
ALPR beep beep. Sorry, ALPR beep beep. So his ALPR beep beep beep. So when we drove by, it clipped the license plate, so it beeps, and then it dings the system, and it says, oh, it's not registered. So it beeps again. So he heard the beep beep, and then he sprang into action. So he comes in, he pulls in behind us, and then we pulled into the parking lot. And then he basically, from what we've deducted, is that he figures the car is stolen and that we're running drugs. And so he acted as such. Never told us. They searched that vehicle for 90 minutes. We'd already gone to jail. Like, anyway, the whole thing, that's why I had to write a book. No one would have believed me. I don't even believe myself. You know, had it not happened, and I still don't believe it, but I had to write the book. And so they charged me with assault. You
never laid hands on this guy. Nothing
he came out of the car at my brother because that was it. He told Jarvis to get back in the car, and it's like you don't.
So when you pulled in, where did you pull in?
We pulled into a parking lot. You can actually
parking lot of what, if you don't mind me asking?
A shopping mall.
Okay, that's what I was trying. I'm trying to set the scene in my head.
Yeah, no.
So they pull in behind you and block you.
I've got it on my YouTube channel. You can watch the video. You'll see it from where we take a left. It's a white Celica.
Oh, I'm gonna go watch it for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of people hear it on audio, so I'm just trying to set the scene. They pull behind you, they block you. What happens next? Do they say something on the PA thing, or do they get out of the car?
Absolutely right. Absolutely, yeah. So let me walk it through. Absolutely. So I remember this vividly. So this is August 7 o'clock, August 24th. So the sun is setting, but it's still daylight. Like you can still see. It's still, more or less broad.
Oh yeah.
So my brother and I both exited the vehicle, and he's parked at a funny angle, which is funny because right beside us, we parked right beside another car, and there was 2 guys smoking a joint or something in there.
What?
Oh, dude, I know, man. This is the most incredible story. And so when he parked in at a bit of an angle. And you can see it in the video, which means my brother who was driving and the parked car was on his left. So when the cop car parked at an angle to the back left, he basically blocked these guys in.
Pause 1 second. Sorry. Can someone, while he's talking, pull up this video? One of you guys? So maybe we can see it.
On my, just call me Stu on my YouTube. I think it's like just
Bill, if you can.
I'm working on it. Go ahead. Keep going.
You know where his YouTube is? You know it?
He said, "Just call me Stu." So I'm
just call me Stu.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No worries. Yeah,
we're low production costs, man.
Man.
You know it's all right. Look for my dog, my dog Jake White Lab on the picture maybe. But anyway, so anyway, where were we? So We were just getting out of the
pulled
car.
up?
We got out of the car. And so it's a single guy.
But wait, hold on. Why did you get out of the car? They pulled up behind you. You said they said something on the...
No. So we pulled up, and I get out of the car. Jarvis gets out of the car.
Before the cops were behind you, or were they already
no,
behind?
I didn't realize the cops were even behind me.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get to, because I was like,
yeah.
I don't think if the cops pulled you in, you'd just jump out of the car like you're going in to
there
get
was no
some
siren.
pretzels or something.
He chirped it. He says he did like a chirp, but I'm like, there was no chirp, and this is why, because the audio is missing, right? Like technically 3 microphones, even if it's just the one car. There was 10 fucking cars showed up to that intersection that night. I have the GPS. We have the GPS coordinates from all these cars had GPS, but none of them had in-car camera systems, except the one car that was the unmarked car, but its audio magically failed, even though it had been in the field since November of 2011, and this is August 2024. Like, it's juvenile.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Is this a car number 40? Sorry, car number 477?
Yeah, you'll see like the back of the Celica. That's like us. That's like the beginning. So when he flicks his lights, there's a 30-second like positive delay.
Is it like 22 minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
So the very beginning. If you want, you can bring it up or whatever. I don't mind. So that's when he pulled behind us, because we were going to the mall to get a letter for my brother. He had to go to the postmaster in the Shoppers Drug Mart. It's like when you guys would have like a Walgreens and you'd have like a little postmaster in So we were going in there to go and do that. And then so this guy pulled behind us at the light. So you can see we're in a left-hand turning signal. I'm not sure if you guys are even watching it.
No. I'm just letting you tell it, and then.
Okay, yeah. So we're in the left-hand, like designated left-hand turning lane through the intersection. So the lights change, a couple cars drive through, and my brother drives through. And that's when the cop said he turned his lights on when he was in the middle of the intersection. So that's why when you see the recording, it's gone back like 30 seconds. Does that make sense? Because it's constantly recording in a loop. And then once he hits the lights, then that signals, and then the Wi-Fi is supposed to send that video directly to the headquarters, because let's say he gets into a life and death situation and somebody shoots him with a machine gun, then they will have that video back at the headquarters, right? It's all Wi-Fi. Apparently this car was his car 477 was installed in November 2011, and this is now August. You can see in the top, it's 19:01 and 38 seconds.
Bill, yeah, there you go. Thank you.
He hasn't technically turned his lights on until he gets in the intersection, but it kicks back 30 seconds, as you can see.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's always recording over itself to save memory until the lights kick on, and then it runs.
Absolutely.
So,
right.
Yeah.
So here's the situation. So he's now basically pulling behind us, and we're going into a parking lot. And so he knows that the Traffic Safety Act, that this is not his jurisdiction. This is a parking. Here's the car. There's the car. So when he turns, he's now blocked that car.
Yeah.
See how he's blocked? Did you see that? And so now I'm out of the car, and now he's there. Right? That's me, and I'm out. I'm gone. I'm like,
you're just going in the store, though. Like
I was like, man, I'm not gonna go to this, because we stopped at a friend's, and we were gonna go to a friend's after, and then they were really worried about us because we never made it home that night. Mm-hmm. So that's it. That's the only video they sent. They refused to say any audio. They refused to say anything.
That's what they sent you?
That's what they got. So now this goes through. If you want to fast forward a few minutes,
okay, yep,
you can see right away that they have, because their whole story doesn't make sense. I included the transcript of the court case, like when they were on the stand, like like Holy Bible, and swear, and they basically were like, oh yeah, James and Jarvis refused to identify themselves, but there's no audio. You're like, so that's pretty like convenient for you. Like I just say, yeah, my name is James and this is Jarvis. There's the audio. Oh no, there's no audio. And so they basically did me for obstruction and 2 counts of assault. Why 2? Why 2 counts of assault? Because 1's an accident, 2 means you meant it. So go to jail. And I would have had a criminal record. I probably would have had just to like 30 days, or I would have been like a 6-month or a year probation. So here they are. They're more interested in the car, right? They've already thumped me. This guy was his backup. Like I said, 10
Where
cars.
Where are you right now?
I'm
you're still inside,
face down in the parking lot.
Oh wow! So this all happened all off camera then.
About to be, yeah. This is the only video. See, now they're going through the car. They're going through the back of the car because he's convinced. He's convinced that we've stolen something, or because all he did was got the ALPR beep beep, the automatic license plate reader went beep beep, and so you guys, and they even admit it. The one cop said the first 90 minutes of their investigation was a stolen car, and you're like,
investigation.
Maybe you should tell the driver and the passenger. But meanwhile, they took us to jail. Off to jail. When I went to jail, they were like, give us your name and number. I'm like, why? Like, I don't even know why I'm here. And they're like, oh, that's enough. I wrote it in my book. Like, one of my other videos, you can see it. I just gave it to them. I was just like, man, I'm not listening to you. Like, you haven't told me why I'm under arrest. Like, I shouldn't even be here. I never should have. See, here's another guy.
Yeah.
And watch, like, he's looking at the car. Like, it's the most unbelievable thing. It was a huge clusterfuck.
Wow.
It was a huge mistake.
You got the whole force out there, man.
10 cars, bro. 10 cars. Like, this wasn't no monkey.
All right. Did you leave out the bale of marijuana in the story, dude?
Right? I wish I had a machine gun, an RPG or something,
Oh god.
But if you watch that, if you can, you go back really quick on that. Can you just go back like 30 seconds? Because when these guys show up, this guy here that gets out of this car, he knows something. He's just like, this doesn't, like, watch how long. Like, the one guy's out. He's out right away. Boom, this little guy, what's going on?
Yeah,
what's happening? What's happening? But this
driver, where's the action?
Driver,
this other dude, knows something's up. Huh?
He's nothing but business. This dude's nothing but business. Watch. He looks, he says something, and the guy responds. He turns his head. Watch, he'll say something. Right, he points, and he says something, and he'll turn right here. Watch. Right here. Watch. Right here. Wait for it. See? And he's like, he's like, tells him, I'm out of here.
I want to talk to that guy. That's the guy I want to talk to.
I do too. Yeah. Who is that guy?
Right.
What was car 222? What was the microphone for?
And what did he say? He probably's like, watch your ass. Like,
so anyway.
Dude, it amazes me though that you can't get this information. You're arrested, but you can't get the audio from the police, which work for us, which should be public record, especially in a court case, and you can't get it.
Nobody. They don't even have any of the records. So like,
they have them.
Well,
they used to. They probably deleted them by now. But
so when they sent this player, we had to watch it. It wasn't like the raw, like when you get like, it was through their player. Like, we had to download their app. You know what I mean? Like,
oh wow, right.
And then,
now we can track you.
Yeah,
thank you, James.
Yeah, right. But it was worse than that, because when you played it, or like but the mute button, or sorry, the volume button was like ghosted. You know what I mean? Like they'd funny business.
Yeah, you couldn't change it.
So you couldn't do the audio. Because you're like, how does 3 microphones? Like, we're talking 3. This is like state of the art. Like, this shit is military. Like,
swamp gas, bro. Swamp gas.
Panasonic Arbitrator, like 360s. Like, they were supposed to be tested in Iraq or whatever. You know what I mean?
So they're going through your car now.
Oh yeah. They went
like
through
the whole thing.
They went through everything. They don't.
And you guys and you're sitting in the back of the car that we're viewing from right now.
No. This was his unmarked car. This is still his.
Where are you guys?
Are you still on the asphalt, down?
I'm now in a squad car.
Okay.
And soon, when you watch this video, you'll see a white squad car. It'll drive by very quickly. It'll drive by very quickly, and behind that car, it's right around this. I think it's just coming up here. You might miss it. It goes.
There you go.
Is that it?
Fast. No, that's another one coming. But then I leave.
What?
Oh, I told you there was like 10. It was, buddy. Yeah. Oh yeah. Here it is.
Oh my
God.
I think it's just after this. I think it's right around the 1917 mark. Anyway, so a car drives by and I'm in it. And then the car behind me is another unmarked, those ghost cars or whatever. It's black. And they call that a pick car because my face was smashed and I had blood coming out of my nose. My cheek was all. I've put it on my.
I mean,
you
page. Tripped clearly, right? It was your fault.
Right.
You tripped.
Right.
It was the damnedest thing. He tripped.
Right. If you want, you can bring up my Twitter page because I have it pinned because they took a mugshot of me, but they didn't get me any medical attention. The sneaky fuckers. But they waited until the next day when the swelling sort of went down and I'd kind of washed all the sticky blood and shit off my face, and so they went and gave me my. What do they call it?
What's your
the mugshot?
I feel
mugshot.
horrible even asking this, but I'm trying to pull up my Twitter now to see.
No worries. It's the same thing. It's just call me Stu.
Yeah,
Twitter.
all one word, right?
Yeah, all one word. Just see my little
that's how
dog.
we, for anybody that
I'll
wants to
call
go
you
check
what
it
I
out.
want to call you. All right.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, anybody wants to check out his YouTube, it's the same thing. Just call me Stu, all one word. And all the you got a few videos there.
There you go.
This
Okay.
everything else
you
is
follow
from,
me, and I wasn't following
Dale
you.
or
What a
whatever.
dick. All right. So what am I? Oh, the first one.
Is this where he's planting the evidence? By the way,
is that you for real? Is that even you?
That's if you have my mugshot or whatever.
Yeah, I'm
so
getting ready to pull it up. I'm trying to.
I put that in my book.
I'll pause this. Hold on, so you can go ahead and throw that up.
I put that in my book. And
do I have to stop sharing before you can?
Well,
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Oh, I said, there it is. You can't see it really well.
Let me see if I can zoom in. I might be able to.
That was the next day. So my ears all cauliflowered and my cheeks.
Oh yeah, I see that. Damn.
Oh yeah. And so I wrote that. I wrote that in the book. They were. It was pretty emotional. I'm not gonna lie. It was kind of a traumatic experience because I've been in fist fights before. I've been on the losing end, and I've been, I guess, on the winning end, even though there's no such thing as winners or losers. But in this situation here, I literally was set upon by dudes, and they had no business even touching me. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, the power of arrest is a very powerful thing, and lots of people don't understand that, and especially the police. And I understand that. And I was a bouncer. Not very long, but I bounced and I understood what good communication is. And you never want to put your hands on people. You never want to. But that's what these cops did. That was like their first. It was like their first instinct.
And I just want to remind people, we pay them to protect us. Why the hell are they doing this right here to a citizen that they're supposed to be protecting with nothing, with evidence of absolutely nothing?
And so this was where I got obstruction and 2 counts of assault. Like 2 counts of assault against the police officer.
Your skin obstructed them from punching your jawbone. That's what happened. So
yeah.
Your head was away.
So the other videos, because it was what they call the Sally Port, and then the jail itself. And so this was it would have been the old Saskatoon Police headquarters down on like 4th Ave.
Is that where the elevator?
Where they would have driven me, and you'll see one video. I should probably bring it up and I can tell you. But you'll see the one video where you'll see the 2 cars they drive in because it's the car.
Oh, if you want to pull anything up, like write down, you see at the bottom where it says present.
Oh yeah.
If you click that, but you have to have a window open, like pull up whatever you want to show, and then click present, and it'll let you share a window if you want, or you can just tell us, and one of us will pull it up.
You said
any of them are fine. There was one that just shows the cars pulling in. It's like one of the first Sallyport ones, and you'll see the top of like a cop car driving in, and that was like
Bill.
the car
Pull up.
that
What is he? What is he?
Any of them, even doesn't even matter, boys. Any video, and I'll tell you a little bit about what happened because they put a spit, they what call a spit sock, because I was bleeding. I was bleeding from my nose. Like I'm not gonna say I almost drowned, but when they smashed me on the ground, the one guy was basically holding my head to the ground, and I wrote it in my book. But I was bleeding because they all had control of me, and I was lying down, and the one guy was on my back.
So it says I'm still still sharing.
It went away.
You're compressing my chest, right? So it's hard to breathe. And then what ended up happening was they were trying to get the handcuffs on me. But one of them was sitting on, I was like face down because they tackled me from behind. 2 guys grabbed me, and then we did like the dance for a while because like I'm not going down on the ground. It's a fucking parking lot. And then another guy basically basically body slammed me from behind. And I got torn out of the guy's grasp, and I went smashing down the ground. My knees got bashed, and then they all kind of collapsed on top of me and started, giving the old, who's your father?
Yeah, it's a fucking pack mentality when they get
right.
Like
it is, and they're all jacked up because this guy didn't really follow
protocol. You're a good person,
right? You got everybody all.
Are you getting it, Ted?
Yeah, I see it. I didn't know if that was it, so yeah, we can throw it up.
Well, I mean, he'll have.
Okay, so. The pick car's behind, but I'm in the back of car 242. So that's the guy by the name of Constable Smith.
The one on the left?
Drove me. He drove me, yes. And then my
Oh,
brother
yeah,
was
okay,
in that other car. My brother was in that other car, but he's gone. So there's our hats because they took everything. Took my wallets, took everything, like just my cell phone, took my keys. They just searched us. They had nothing on us, right? Because we had nothing on us.
Yeah.
My brother even had his driver's license because we thought he might need identification to get his mail.
Yeah.
But anyway, they don't know what to do with me because I'm just like, fuck you, I'm not talking. Like, I have no idea why I'm here. Like, you can't do this to me. Like, I never should have been here. Like, I should not be. And I don't know what they're going to do to me. I'm like, this is the Saskatoon police. These people took people
you could disappear.
Yeah, they're just leaving people
I
out
have
in the
no
tundra.
idea. I have no idea if there's any cameras, right? I have no idea if there's any cameras in here, right? And so this guy shows up. So now there's 2 against 1, and I'm just like, okay, I've seen this before, you know, like,
you want to go me? Let's go.
right? So I'm just like, whatever. You can see
When
me.
they asked you where you were coming from, did you tell them your mom's? Did you say your mom's house? I mean, like, I'm just trying to figure out
Like,
why.
yeah, why did they hate you so much?
dude, right?
The crap out of you.
Who
dude.
knows? There could have been like a meeting before.
Look at him. He's talking to me.
hoorah
He's trying to
thing.
ask me questions. And you can see my face. I'm leaning up.
Oh, he's talking you through the. Okay, right.
Man.
So
Oh,
these
hold
guys,
on. Let me see if I can make it the whole screen so we can see better.
These guys
All
have
right.
no idea. They have no idea what I've done, right? They have no idea.
Right.
These guys showed up later. So these
So
guys,
these aren't even. You weren't even on the scene.
No, man. Right? So like this smaller guy, Smith, and I don't remember the older gentleman's name, but they don't know what to do. And so he's trying to basically interrogate me. He's like, "What drugs are you on? What drugs were you doing today? Where did you get those drugs? What kind of drugs are they?" And I'm like, "Guy, like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I am high on life right now. Like, this is like."
Oh yeah, your adrenaline just flying. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I there was blood everywhere. Like, I basically was spitting in the window because I was handcuffed. I was handcuffed, right? So you're handcuffed and the blood's dripping down. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
what else do you do?
You know,
Yeah.
itchy and how it tastes and it's running down the back of your throat and you're just like, and here comes another guy.
Who's this
Watch
dude?
how many people watch this. And this guy I don't even know where this guy even came from. I don't.
Yeah.
Watch how many guys show up just to take me out of the car. I'm handcuffed, mind you. I'm handcuffed.
What
My face
the-
is
And
My
you
face
you
is
said
already-
you have a spit screen on too, right?
no,
Oh, not yet. Okay.
Because they're like, this is the thing. They were like, oh yeah, we're gonna get you to put the spit sock on. Because the one guy, he's like, oh, he's spitting. And I'm like, yeah, I'm spitting blood, you fucking idiot. Like, do you normally spit blood? Oh, I'm one of those lizard people when I get scared. I spit blood. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he spits blood. Look at him, he's spitting blood.
shit.
So they literally put a spit sock on me, and
Oh, more
here comes the
people.
G.I. Joe.
Hulk-
Here comes this big dude.
Incredible
We got 4.
Oh,
Right?
guy.
dude.
Just wait.
Dude's a
Just
brick
wait.
house.
I don't know what to tell you, man. Like in Canada, like we're like broke and like broke back and broken. I think we're like, look at these guys.
Oh my god, that dude! I
And
swear
here
to
comes
God, that
that-
dude wrestles
is
moves.
that-
See that? Dude, there's the spit stock, and the one guy's waving at me. Did you see him wave?
Oh, I thought
See
that
him
was
wave
a
at
woman
me?
at first. The
Go
one.
back, go over, like, and he waves.
Okay,
and I'm
wait.
excited.
Let me
Holy
hear that.
shit!
Wait.
How many people are
He
there
may
now?
not be a woman,
6
but
or
he's a little
7?
They're like
bitch.
wolves. They're like
Oh.
licking their chops. They're like
I know.
wolves.
It is. It's they're
You were,
looking to
dude. You were the
pounce.
most exciting thing that happened to them in months.
Probably.
I mean, besides when they
exactly
killed the
what-
indigenous dude 3 weeks ago, but
Oh yeah,
you know.
yeah.
No, that happened. That happened a while ago. But anyway, yeah, to see him wave, he waves. They're all happy. They're like, "All right, we're gonna fucking do this guy."
It literally is a pack
what
mentality because they're not
Yeah.
enforcing
Oh, yeah.
anything important, and they're just like, we got to do something. Let's get this guy.
Oh, they go to move the car. They're like, "Okay, look." They're all like, "Okay, what are we gonna do here?" Because he's gonna be like John Wick. This is the guy who's like, "Are you gonna
Here it goes, John Wick.
right?" Like, I got the bulletproof hoodie and I got like grenades and shit. See, there's the spit sock. He's getting it all stretched
Oh,
and
they
ready.
moved the other car.
Oh yeah, it's game on, boys. Game on. Like, here we go, boys.
Damn, dude. Fucking deep, dude. They are deep, dude.
So anyway,
You'd think you'd been chewing off people's faces or something.
Hannibal I was just gonna say.
Right, yeah, that's like some Hannibal Lecter's looking
Hannibal
shit there.
Lecter, right? Right on. That's so funny because you can see him. See the guy? I never seen that guy before, and he's giving me. He's like, "Fuck no!" I'm like, "Dude, I'm not putting that on." You see the old guy back there? He's like, "You're gonna do exactly what you're told," and I'm like, "No, the fuck, I'm
Dude,
not."
how many
Oh,
people
man.
are even there? I can't even. 1,
I
2,
didn't know
3,
what
4,
the-
5, 6, 7.
And he
1, 2,
can't.
Yeah, 7, maybe
7,
8.
I think. I
I think
think.
it's
Okay.
It's hard to
my
tell because
gosh.
they all look like penises. Oh, there you are with the spit sock on.
Wow. Oh my god, dude.
And most of those guys didn't know. Like, I wasn't told what had been charged with. I wasn't told what I'd been placed under arrest for until the next day when they took that mugshot. When you showed that mugshot earlier. Yeah. So the whole time, none of these people know why I'm charged. I don't know why I'm charged.
I hope you know the government's listening to you, because I don't know if you can hear. No, I'm serious. I don't know if you can hear it, but every so often,
there's some sort of like
there's some weird, like, it sounds like digital bees swarming by, and then it goes away.
I wouldn't be surprised. They've known about me for quite some time. I've got this is great dirt. Wait till my second book and you know what these judges are so unaccountable in Canada. I don't really know what to say. They're so unaccountable. They can really rewrite things. Even my case was never published because there was never a written decision, which is totally bullshit. But they're wallpapering it now. They're like, oh yeah, R.V. Stewart. It was a case of overholding. You're like, oh, is that what it was? You beat me up, charged me with obstruction, two counts of assault, kept me in jail till like 1 o'clock the next day, so we couldn't get the car to impound. But that's just a little bit of overholding. So I had to go to court, right? I had to go to court and criminal court, and I represented myself. It was really tough to do. They disrespected my brother and I the whole way. That's where I got delayed, demurred, deny. I should have added disrespected.
How many times did they ask, are you sure you want to represent yourself, Mr. Stewart?
Yeah, it was so, the whole thing is juvenile. I don't know what else to say. It's such a poor word because that's what it is. Like, if you just had the audio, none of this would have happened. We wouldn't have all these resources for court. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have. We had my brother and I had 7 case managements because that's what they do. They lead you and bleed you. They lead you and bleed you.
Right.
You know, keep coming on a little bit, pay a little more.
So them not having the audio, did that help your case or did it hurt the case?
A little bit of each.
It's really. I put the transcript in there. Like, people who understand, it's like plumbing, man. Like, if I saw somebody had installed a backflow preventer the wrong way and people's sewage was backing up, it's kind of like on me as a plumber to be like, we need to pull that out, turn it around, or put in a new one so the sewage goes the right way. Whereas with my case, they're like, oh yeah, well, it's nothing to see here. And you're like, the audio, like, if you have the audio, then I wouldn't be found guilty. Like that. Right. That's really as simple as that. It's basically as simple as saying 5 guys got together and said, these 2 guys are a bunch of duty heads.
So they bring you to the jail. Then what's next?
And then the next day they let us out. So I got my, that morning at 6 o'clock, I was taken for thumbprints or fingerprints and my mugshot that you saw there. Yeah. And then I went and met this guy, the justice of the peace, which is more bullshit. He should have been the day before, to find out right away what my charges were. But they kept me overnight. And it wasn't even the justice of the peace. It was a video screen, which is just more tomfoolery. Yeah. And then so I had to come back again, and then they make you sign all this paper. And then that's when the previous time with the other cops, when I got called with the seatbelt and stuff, when all that reared its ugly head, because it's in the system, right? So all this other stuff comes back, and then they've got you. But then that was then right there. I was like, okay, this is the system now. I know how it works. These people are revenue generating enforcers, right? That's how cops work, right? They get taxpayer money, but then they also have to generate revenue speeding. You didn't signal when you were turning, so that's a $200 ticket, right? Right. And then what happens? What happens when you pay that? There's always that victim surcharge, right? Or the victim. Have you guys ever paid that? In here, they call it, right? It's like a victim surcharge or a victim. There's another victim administrative fee, right? Because anytime you have a crime, a real crime, you have a victim.
Yeah.
Right. But what's the crime when I'm speeding, or what's the crime when I made a left without my turn signal? There is no crime, right? No, but they get you to pay the victim surcharge. You don't think about it. Oh, well, the judge says, $250 ticket speeding and $15 victim surcharge, right? And you just, okay, thank you. And you take it in. And as soon as you pay that victim surcharge, you're basically legitimizing the crime, because why would you have paid a victim surcharge if there was no victim? Right. And this is what they do. It's all these little things, right? And it's the English language. They say it's the most difficult, because it's true, because we have so many words. or so many meanings for the same word.
How long did it take for you to start getting the ball rolling for you to counter sue and all this? Like, or how did that even happen?
It was right after the criminal court where they were basically like, we're not going to give you any audio or any real video or any evidence whatsoever that could actually like prove your side of the story or save, act as an alibi and save you.
And they thought this was like going to help them?
Well, no, because this is what they do. They'll just bury it, right? They just bury people.
Right, hoping you're not going to go after it and just say, "Oh, okay,
well, you know what?" Right? The media is all part of it.
With all the adjudication, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, right.
And
go
down.
Money, right? It's all money.
Right. Yeah, I know. Yeah, okay, I get you. So you decided to go ahead and lawyer up, obviously, and look at. Oh, okay. Sorry, you went in by yourself. Yeah, I'm so used to.
No worries. But,
so you're now out away from this, doing your own due diligence, right? Getting everything together, asking them for all the videos, all the evidence, all this stuff, right? Yeah. And you are representing yourself at this point. Okay. What are you going after them for now officially?
Okay. So the first part was just me representing myself to defend myself against the charges.
Right. But and they're coming after you for assault and
times two. And then my brother got obstruction because he refused to identify himself.
Right.
Like in the parking lot, he's just like, my name.
And there is no video.
Were you co-defendants? Did you guys
basically
were you tried together?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And Bill, you were saying what? There's no video.
Oh, there is like just so everybody's on the same page. There is no other video of you being assaulted by these cops. There's nothing else available out there.
Or of them assaulting you or anything like that. Right. I mean, of you assaulting them. Sorry.
Right. Yeah.
Oh no, absolutely. But here's the thing.
So
the second car that showed up, because he called backup, and the second car that showed up was another unmarked. So the very first two vehicles, out of the 10 vehicles, but the very first two vehicles were both unmarked, and were both supposed to have fully functioning what they call ICCS, in-car camera system.
Right.
Recording devices, right? Yeah. And they are called arbitrator 360s because they're supposed to be able to more or less record in 360, and they can hear in 360 because they have an internal microphone, an external microphone, and an officer lapel microphone, right? A wireless microphone.
And obviously not all of those things were being used.
And so as far as they were concerned, they were like, there was some, the judge even said for some unexplained reason, like it meant something. And it's like, you motherfucker, motherfucker. And that's really how juvenile it is. So I really know that those videos were uploaded automatically because, it's like if you shoot a machine gun at the cop or whatever, oh, well, they'll never see the video. You know what I mean? That shit's uploaded automatically. Right. And I even said that in my book. Those camera systems are paid for by taxpayers, and they're just as much for my protection as they are for the police. Right? They're there for both of us. There's absolutely no reason why those cameras weren't there to protect me. And so that's why I really felt like I had to write my story, because I was like, if you can do this to me, you can get away with murder. You can, you can do whatever you want. Like, who's stopping you? Like the media isn't saying nothing. The politicians aren't saying nothing. The judges are fully behind it. So then when I got totally roasted, I was like, because you have basically a 3-year statute of limitations, right? You have about, it's just like anything, well, he touched my bum 20 years ago. Well, come on, man. But yeah, I wasn't really going to do much until they really hosed me in criminal court. And then I was like, man, fuck you, man. Really? Really? This is so juvenile. This isn't even funny anymore. I was never violent at all. They were like, oh, you had sovereign papers and you were violent. And I'm like, no, I wasn't. Yeah. The fucking papers say, I don't believe what you're doing is police work. You're not police. You think you're police, but you're a traffic safety enforcement officer. So it's two different things. And if you don't know what it is you do for a living, why should I listen to you? Here's my paper. Give me the ticket and we'll both be on our way. Yeah. But these guys, oh no, you're not paying in. You're not registered. You're a terrorist or whatever. Or now I'm
just so we're clear, at the end of that letter, it didn't say bitch, right? There was. Honestly, I'm just trying to figure out, you know what I mean? Clearly there was some steroid use between those cops. One looks like he actually ate moose for dinner that day.
Right.
But I just wanted to make sure that,
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Whatever. I'm not gonna lie. I probably called him a cocksucker a couple times.
Hey, you know what?
Couple.
Did you
few,
get that
know.
out? But as you were spitting blood, yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, as he's continually beating you in the fucking head.
I'll let you.
Yeah.
I'll let you read my book, and
yeah, no, I'm
and if
definitely
you
gonna
laugh,
read that.
if you laugh and it makes you laugh out loud or whatever, then let me know, and because yeah,
Yes.
like I wanted to be as truthful, but I also wanted to be like, okay, like this is my side, you know, like this is like I have a few things to say here, and I think these guys, these people, this whole system, I think they just thought I was a dumb fuck plumber. You know what I mean? I think they were just like, guy's fucking idiot. And I think I kind of caught them by surprise when I wrote that book, when I was just like, you know what? Like, and that was where I said, Billy, there, that I was going to write a book, but I was going to sue them because I was like, you can't do this. Like, you can't, like, I Columboed the guy in the stand. Like, if you read my transcripts, at one point I'm like, so how, where, and when did I assault you? And the guy literally is like that was the noise he made. He literally was like, literally. And even it doesn't pick it up in the transcripts. But if you look at the transcripts,
there's no video.
The judge, there's no video. The judge tries to save him because the judge is like, well, there was no assault, was there? And then the woman taking like the notes, I don't know, that she's like
stenographer.
Yeah, and she it's like she it was like subconsciously or like God was talking through her, because she says, without skipping a beat, she says, how late are we sitting today? In other words, like it's over. Like it's over. Like, James just fucking Columboed these fucking cops to do that. And even my brother was like, he fucking derped him like a bitch. Oh fuck, dude. But the media won't say that. Like my story, it's like Twitter. It's like on Twitter. There's like 3 people. It's like the echo chamber. I got nothing. So I really appreciate you guys so much, because like without you guys, like you guys are my first. You popped my cherry. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, man. No, this is wild, dude. This
is what
wild,
these people are doing. And fuck, look what I am unretarded. So. But anyway, so then I sued them, and then a whole bunch of fuckery, and that's what my second.
How much? Hey, if you don't mind, how much you get them for?
I didn't, man. They hosed me. I took it for $500,000, and I won, but the judge totally pulled a bogus. It's they pretended anyway. It's all fucked, and they won't publish it. The media won't say nothing because I was right and I won, and they won't admit it. So they'll call me everything. They'll call me a cocksucker. They'll call me gay. They'll call me a meth head. They'll call me a pedophile. You know, a goof. They'll call me. They won't call me right. They won't.
So what happened then? Like something had to be said for this, right? There's no civil. Can you civilly sue them?
I did, man, for $500,000.
Right, and
they fucked me right over. They said the cops acted in good faith, and you're like, no, they didn't. No, they fucking didn't. And that was the end of it. And that's all going to go for my second book, because no one will believe that either. It's the most sinister. Is sinister the word? Where you're like, we're just going to fuck this over. You know, for using a sailor.
I mean, it's clear that they jumped the gun.
We're just going
to probably had they probably had some young punk just, wanted to get his knuckles wet or whatever. And
this guy Keating, this cop Keating, he's got history, man. And I put that in my book.
There you go. Okay, it makes sense. So yeah, he wanted to get a beating in a little bit.
The cops are like Freemasons, right? Like it's all part of the system, right? And
they're gang. They got to stick together. They look out for each other.
And so they are like the front to the back of like the bankers and the people who really run the show, right? The religious zealots and all these people. The police were never there to serve and protect, but that's what they pretend to do. Yeah. And that's where we are. And in Canada, we're in a terrible, terrible place right now. Like the power of police, the power of judges, like the absolutely, like what the politicians just ignore the people. And there's no voice, there's no nothing. So
Did they take away your guns?
They have. They've had a handgun bill. Like they've done all kinds of things. The biggest one for me.
How are you supposed to hunt moose, eh?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Only the Indians can do that. They can use whatever they want. I would at least have more faith if they are more pride, or not pride. I'd have more respect for them if they use like old bow and arrows,
Yeah.
but you come up with a 300 Win Mag. You're like, oh, it's the you talk shit on the white man. Well, dude, like you're using a fucking 300 Win Mag. Like go and throw stones. You know, like. But anyway, I'm a racist. Yeah. But anyway, but yeah.
Well,
no.
so okay, so you got shafted, and that's insane, dude. I hear because I guess when we were first talking, I was like, oh yeah, he sued him and like for all this money and stuff like that, and it was like, holy shit, what a shitty end of a story. But I mean,
it doesn't end there. It doesn't end there because then they basically countersued me and they said, yeah, you cost us $48,000.
Did they win?
Sent me a bill. They sent me this company. It was a legal company the profession called Sharfstein, Gibbons, Whalen and Fisher. Sharfstein, Gibbons. That's it. Sharfstein, Gibbons, Whalen, Fisher, and Bob Gibbons. Robert Gibbons was the lawyer that was, and they sent me a bill for like $48,000. Wow. And it was a 5-day trial in what's called Court of Queen's Bench. And so now it's Court of King's Bench because the Queen's dead. Because Canada we're a little different. Yeah. We're a little different than you guys. So it's now called Court of King's Bench. But I sued them in the Court of Queen's Bench. And anyway, and so they fucked me. And anybody who knows anything can read it. And it'll be on my second book. It's going to be the same sort of format as my first book. And I'll show all the transcripts and everything for the trial. And they screwed me. And at the end of it, I was just like, to this Bob Gibbons guy, I was just like, good game, Bob. Like good game. He couldn't believe it because at the one video, when they showed me the booking desk, and I said, they never got me a call to a lawyer. They never said they never got me a call to a lawyer. They were never like, here's your rights. Here's what's your charge. They just was like off. Literally, the guy points and he's like off to jail. And so the lawyer at the civil trial, he let out a gasp because they brought that Constable Smith guy in for their little witness. And I was like, is this where you got me a call to a lawyer? And the video just shows him going, where I go to jail. And the lawyer, Bob Gibbons was like, oh, and he like coughed out loud because he's like, holy shit, he's right. They never even got him a call to a lawyer. And they fucked me over anyway. But they sent me a bill for like $48,000. And the one thing was like for him and his assistant for 5 days in court was like $1,500 a piece each or something. Where you're like, motherfucker, $1,500 just to walk into court. And there's me. Like, I got to drive up. I'm filling out little fucking things. I'm typing up stuff. Don't even know what I'm doing. I'm trying to get a legal degree just to represent myself because these guys totally fucked me. And, but yeah, $48,000. And then I was like, this is all bullshit. I'm not doing nothing. And then they sent me another one. Oh yeah, we've reconsidered and it's $42,000. And I was this close to like wiping it on my ass, mailing it back.
He wipes his ass with his record contract. Right?
And then they would be like, oh, look, he got it and he signed it. So, it's legal. He signed it with his poo bum. So it's legal. So I was like, I'm just going to ignore it. I'm just going to ignore it. I'm going to pretend like these people don't even exist. And that's what I did. And then it works because they just go away. And now.
Wow. Okay. Well, then. Now it's all kind of becoming a clearer picture, right? So so basically don't give into the bullshit, fight it, learn it, and stick up for yourself because
if you don't stick up for yourself, who's gonna stick up for you?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean what about that high priced lawyer though? What about him? He's not gonna do it or
right?
No, they're all friends behind the scenes.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they'll just lead you. They'll lead you and bleed you, right? That's what we say. Lead you and bleed you. It doesn't matter what it is. Even if, let's just say for the sake of argument, they got me off my 2 charges, which I got off myself. But even if they got it, and now I'm staring down $50,000, $100,000, legal bill.
You still would have had to sign something saying that you were guilty in some sort of way, right?
Or something, right?
Right. In order to justify what they went through. I just can't I mean, man, I think if that would have happened here in the States.
Oh, it'd be front page.
Big difference, dude.
Yeah.
Right? You would have had a shield on and everything over there. Like, yeah, bro, you work for me now, bitch. Like, that's really how that went down.
And honestly, and that's why I don't think there's any audio because what they did to me, like, I'll let you guys read it.
Then it's all he said, she said, and then what's the evidence?
I'll tell you, like that's what they did to me. Like that's how it went down, and you can read it and be like, yeah, and then you see my scars, and you see this, and you're like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, compared to what they said on the stand, and I was over here and over there and this, because you have to remember, like when I showed you that original video, when that car pulls up, like when we pull beside, and then that car pulls up. And he's telling us that Jarvis is over here and we're walking this way and walking that way. And it's like, dude, he's pinned. You pinned him.
Yeah.
Like the two guys are in there, like smoking a joint, being like, holy fuck, what's going on? And then they didn't even take witness statements. Or if they did take witness statements, they didn't release those either. So what did those two guys in the car say or see? And the cops said nothing. Like there was no use of force reports. There was no witness statements. Like they admitted that they used force on me, but there's no use of force reports. You're like,
what?
Jeez.
And that they charged me.
And did they do that? Did they do that after they read the note?
No. That's the thing is.
They're like, oh, this dude's I'm gonna go whoop his ass just for thinking he's slick. You know.
Here's the rub. Here's the rub. Because then they go through the car.
I just don't understand it. That's insane.
Then they go through the car. And then they find the notes. And then they're like, oh, these guys are freemen on the land, idiots.
Yeah.
These guys are violent. These guys are this and these guys are that. And then that's what they used. They basically were like, this was the evidence. Your two letters that you wrote, that at the very bottom, they use everything in the letter except the very bottom, which says, like, I mean no harm. You just give me your ticket and we'll all live our merry lives and go our merry way. But I don't abide by your laws. I don't abide. Well, yeah, but you're traffic safety enforcement officers. You're not police. Don't mix it up on my account. And then that's what they did, right? And you guys are violent. Oh, you're so violent. Like even if I'm Charles Manson's brother, I still have rights. I still have rights. And it's just so juvenile.
This is it's incredible because this is what is happening.
I'm so glad you guys are Americans because you guys get this. Most Canadians
and this is why we're where we are, right? I think we can all agree that so many, it's just the pussification, right, and the giving in of whether it be Canadians or Americans or whoever, just like giving into this authority figure that
they said.
Right. Yeah. Like I just want it over with, okay, withhold justification or whatever. And I'll sign off saying that, I'm not guilty, but I'm not innocent either. And here we are. And then that's that. Like that happens all the time, dude. That
just passes the buck down the road, too.
Yeah,
to open them up to feel like that they can do whatever they want.
And they get to use that, like he said, against you later on. Right? Like, well, no, you were not innocent. You actually were guilty. If we withheld adjudication, that's still saying like you're guilty. And you paid the fines right here and this and that, and they get to use that against you down the road.
Totally.
And
it's the network, right? Once you're in, you're never getting out. Like once they get your fingerprints and like the Running Man, it's network. Once you got it, once you're in there.
Why do you think all these cop shows are like the most popular shows on TV? Because they're trying to drive it into you that like, look, this is it. Even though the stuff they show on those shows are not laws, they're like, look, I mean, he has to talk because we said this. You have to.
Right.
Like they cram it down your throat. Like, look, they did it. It's on TV. It's true. So that's what you have to do. And it's total bullshit. It's complete bullshit.
I said that in my book. I was like, these cops watch these shows. Like they watch these cop drama shows.
And they think they can get away with it. Yeah.
And everybody's got a fucking handgun and grenades and everybody's a terrorist and everybody's, embezzling. It's just like, dude. Like,
I mean, was it like crazy times around then? Like in their neighbor, you know what I mean? In that where you were? No, there wasn't any high alerts or anything.
No, man, it was just a guy that was just a hero, man. Like just one of these hero cops. Like he just overstepped his line. He didn't, baby. Right. He just didn't take didn't take a big deep breath. You know what I mean? He just didn't really assess the situation. He just let it escalate and boil over. And then even when he like called for backup, because like I was making no threat whatsoever. Like even if you look in the criminal transcripts, it's on my webpage. You go see it. And I'm not hiding anything. I had to pay for those too. Fuck, they weren't free. Holy fuck. And so
really from your own case?
Oh fuck, dude! I've been fighting credit card debt and lines of credit. And
you got weird, dude.
Right? Anything you can do to pay and do what you can to make and pay. Right?
Do you like shit in the shape of a maple leaf now? Because they fucked you so bad. Like
I haven't shit for years. I don't know the last time I had a good shit.
God, man, that's so
bad.
I
wish I could shit a maple leaf. Yeah. I'm not too happy. I'm not too happy or proud about being.
I will feel
man.
the same. I'll tell you,
Uh,
we are brethren, even if we're not from the same country, because I feel the same way. I hate America right now. I think it's a disgusting Babylonian Sodom and Gomorrah cesspool. But
I thought that was only Vegas. I thought that was just Vegas.
I lived in
No.
Vegas for a few years, and I'll tell you right
did.
now, where I live is worse than Vegas was when I lived there. So it has exponentially grown. But I still believe in the ideals of what America and Canada were founded on: freedom, people having a voice. So I guess you could still call me patriotic. I'm not patriotic for what America is now. I'm patriotic for what America is supposed to be, and they've ruined it. And I feel like when you said you were a patriot or whatever, it's kind of the same thing. Like, you probably don't back what they're doing now, taking your guns away, doing this, doing that, but like you back what they should be and what they were built on.
Right.
Oh yeah, I mean, call it like a traditionalist, you know. Or I could say I'm a nationalist, but then when you look at Canada,
then they're gonna come raid you. So
a lot like in a way like America too, but like it's not the same country, right? Like when I was born in 1975, like so much has changed. Like when I was born in 1975, like we could own an AK-47 or an M16, right? There was no such thing as abortion. What else there was no lottery. Like there was no, like we didn't have lotto or sports betting. Like if you notice now, like it's all sports betting.
Oh, that's so. Hold on. I'm a very firm believer in everything happens at a certain time for a reason. And in multiple episodes, someone has said something that just recently happened in my life. And you're talking about betting, and literally earlier tonight, a commercial came on, and they're like, finally, sports betting is allowed in Florida on this app. And I was like, I looked at my wife, and I was like, there you go. That's it. It's all downhill from here. So it literally, like, the fact that you said that was just like, here we go. Yeah. So sorry.
Right. Yeah. And it's not even, I mean, because everything's, what's your opinion or my opinion? But it's like, if you read like the Communist Manifesto, like the planks of the Communist Manifesto, and it talks about this, you know, how you do the education, how you do like lottery or certain things, welfare state. Well, and this is how you basically destroy a country, or how you take, you know, what the country was originally built on, or the pillars of that country.
Undermine it. Yeah.
Undermine. Good word. Right. And break it down. Right. And so looking at Canada, it's the very same thing. Right. Like we didn't have, like when I was born, I'm going to be here as a bigot again, but like being a gay or a homosexual or whatever was basically like against the law. Like you could be like thrown in jail, or, you know, there's a lot of things. Like, so it's all these things that the Canada used to be, but then they've all changed. Right. So now we're like totally pro LGBTQ, XYZ, 1, 2, 3. We've got tampons in men's bathrooms. You know what I mean? Like we've got just twisted stuff. And you're like, this isn't Canada anymore. You know, it's not even America. Like when both of us have, like,
is it safe to say that Trudeau is a lot of the reason for that?
Oh, yeah. You wanted to get back to Trudeau.
Yeah. The way we kind of transitioned it right into it.
Yeah, no, that's a good transition. Yeah. Who's your daddy and what does he do? You know what I mean? and who's the other guy? Pierre Poilievre, right? Because he's the official opposition. Nobody knows where he's from. Like, he was adopted. Nobody knows. So who is his daddy and what does he do? Because I want to know. I want to know right now, because you're supposed to be, or you're going to be the next leader of my country. Because, they're all, it's like, I have a really good friend. We talk about like the sailboat, right? Justin Trudeau is the captain of the sailboat. He's not the owner of the sailboat. The owner of the sailboat tells Justin Trudeau where to go. You know what I mean? He'll go left, right, left, right, left, right. And then when Justin Trudeau's gone, it'll be like Pierre Poilievre, who's another fucking WEF, globalist schmuck. Nobody knows where his bloodline is. For all we know, he's like a spawn of fucking Soros. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Nobody knows. Right? Like, who's Zelensky? Where the fuck did Zelensky, that little fucker from Ukraine, where did he come from? Right?
He was a friggin' actor in commercials and shit.
Wearing leotards and shit, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so, with these guys, like, you have owners, and so that's where Canada is. We talk about the system, like, back to my book, where you're like, these politicians are unaccountable. These lawyers are unaccountable. These judges are unaccountable. And so how do we have the freedom to sort of take back, I mean, say take back our country, but like, what was the country? That was like our, like it used to be this, but now it's just like even you guys, like you got Joe Biden, but you don't have Joe Biden because is he dead with a mask? He's not. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much. I mean, there's so much.
This is the craziest time to be alive.
It is. And we're here for a reason. We're here for a reason.
Right?
Absolutely right. Even having this conversation right now, we're here for a reason. You know, and I just gotta say, dude, like, I feel terrible what you went through. I've never been through any of that. I don't know personally anybody that's been through something like that. But I can tell you right now, my eyes are wide open.
Yeah.
And I am 100% on guard now.
Yeah,
you know, like after seeing and hearing what you went through, and I know it's a little bit different from Canada to here, but all in all, it's really not.
Yeah, not much.
It's really not. These are fraternities. These are gangs. You know what I mean? These are people that are just in power, and their whole idea is to keep keep the peace, meaning keep the money flowing in to keep these people in power. You know, and that's it. And I always thought it was kind of ironic how a lot of them were out there preaching how they wanted to defund the police and all. It never happened.
No, man,
they didn't want to defund the police. They wanted us to say, "Don't defund the police," so we gave them more money.
Right, and then go and hire more cops. And make it bigger. Right, exactly. And then that's, dude, the fact that you nailed it with that, man. Like, thanks, and I could say thank you for sharing your story. I can't wait to read the book.
Cheers.
And the second one, when do you think that one's going to be out?
Are you gonna try? And you try to go?
No
you're gonna
pressure,
go full.
No rush. I'm just saying.
You're gonna go full force with this, right? Like try to put it out, or just digital for now. Yeah, I know, right? It's everything's out of pocket.
You know, sorry, go ahead, Teddy. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I'm following you on Twitter now. Like, I feel like I should know this, but in my defense, I asked Bill, and he was like, "Dude, I don't know. He just messaged me, so he didn't give me your thing." But if you can start putting up your story like in a thread, I will push the shit out of it because people need to.
We're gonna get
this
out.
Cheers.
Not only the people are gonna hear this and watch this, but yes, online as well. Let's get it out there, man. People, it's inspiring.
I hope so.
If you put together a thread that like gives each like a section of overviews, it's a pain in the ass, man. I know. I've done a few myself, but like if it,
I was just happy. I wrote the book, so it was just like there it is. Like there's my website. You know what I mean? Like if you just, I wrote it about me, and then I wrote.
Here's
like,
the thing on Twitter, it's hard to push
I know.
links to anywhere else. Twitter regulates them, so if you post a website link, no one's gonna see it.
A lot of people don't even want to hop off Twitter.
Yeah. So if you do a thread and then the last piece of the thread is the link, or if you do a thread and then I quote tweet you and I put the link, maybe it'll get some. So people need to hear this because people need to know that when we say like, and I've known a few good cops in my life. I'm not saying all cops are bad.
No,
we all know that.
And I didn't.
No, I know that for sure. There's a lot of them that get into it because they really want to help some people, and I also think that some of them get into it for that reason, and it ends up becoming something else because the environment. But not all of them are bad, but there are, like anything else, there's some bad people in it, and unfortunately, the bad people are the ones who insert themselves in things like this. And people need to know that you do have a right. They don't have any right to ask you much of anything, actually. We talked about this with Dave. Like, they really can't ask you anything, so don't say anything to them. Again, this isn't legal advice, but don't say anything. The less you say, the better. And like, I mean, I don't even, there's no answer for what they did to you. What I'm saying is aside from your story, for what they did to you, there's like they just had it out for you, I guess.
They just covered up. They just made a mistake.
Yeah, they really did, and they really did, and it goes all the way up to the higher ups. Everybody covered it up. Yeah, you know, and these are the people that you're paying their salary,
dude. It's right? Like I went to the public complaints commission. Like I did everything that you're supposed to do. You know, public complaints commission. I went to the cops, and like it's all in my book. We had the little like the form, like the complaint form. You know, I'm here to file a complaint. Like I put that in the book. Like did everything. And then, you'll read.
Talking about wiping your ass with documents. What do you think they were doing with that?
Right. Yeah. And it's just like when they have an internal investigation, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's the same thing. You're going to the same people that they're protecting with this complaint, right? Like they're going to go ahead and act on it.
To contact any media or anything like that?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of them are bad, but I think you guys still have a couple good ones in Canada. I think.
what I love about Twitter is I'm just a hostile asshole. I'm just like, because it's Twitter. You know what I mean? Like, how many bots? How many people are even real? How many? Like how serious can you really take Twitter?
Yeah.
So, but you're right. Like, I should almost like advertise a little bit more, but do a thread or do something that people can kind of grasp.
Yeah.
Because part of me is just like, dude, there's
you just
like,
finished it, right? You just finished the book.
Yeah, basically March.
Okay.
Oh wow. So yeah, just pretty much.
I was really happy like with it. I'm not like, I could still make some changes and stuff, but as far as like, I've never written a book.
You always.
And I never.
Anything anybody does, Death does videos, he's always like, man, after I watched it, I should have done this, I should have done that. Everybody who cares about what they're putting out feels that after. So if you made it perfect, you never be done with it. You just got to roll with it.
So I was happy to put it out, but I wanted to put it out, like I wanted to be like proud of it, you know what I mean? But like I wasn't going to put shit out, but at the same time, I wanted to make sure that it had the legitimacy. And it had a message, and it had something like behind the like I was genuine. Like I'm not some lunatic. I didn't wear my tinfoil hat. Like I've grown up over all these years watching like the madness. Like there's no other term for it. Like the world we are living in right now, how it's portrayed by the media and things that are happening. It's borderline stupid, like broken, like we're not acting like we should be acting, and because people aren't calling it out, or the people that are calling it out are getting called out, then there's a problem. You're like, wait a minute, like like they say the insane, the insanes people are running the asylum. You know what I mean?
So
like we're really dealing with some really issues here that need to be addressed with like adult, like non-emotional, logical. But still having like empathy and a feeling, but being like, hey, like no offense, but we need to stop some of this stuff that we're doing.
That's the thing. The true things that benefit people wouldn't hurt anyone's feelings, but nobody wants to go to those things. They want to keep all this subtext and all this garbage in between and not realize we're all from one thing. We're all here. If everybody just treated everybody the way they wanted to be treated, back to the fucking golden rule. That's horrible
We
to
wouldn't
say
need
fucking and golden rule together. But those are the only ones. Don't hurt anybody. Like you said earlier, don't hurt anybody. Don't steal from anybody, and just treat people well. That's all anybody needs to do or know.
Dude, thank you so much, Stu.
Hey, thank you, guys.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I know this was your first, hopefully not your last. And like he said, we're going to do everything we can to get your story out there. Once again, it's justcallmestu.com, right?
Yeah, it's just call me Stu. My last name's Stewart. My last name's Stewart. So it's just when I was a little kid, hey, Stu, Stu, whatever.
And your Twitter's the same, right? Just call me Stu.
Yeah. Maybe one of these days I'm going to, the big bowl of stew. We're going to serve up some truth.
Get that thread ready because we're gonna have people follow you. And
dude,
all that.
I'll actually message you after this so you realize it's me, because I know it's hard. But if you put something together, we will help push it. And after you do your second book, come back. We'll talk about that too.
Thank you very much, guys. I really, really appreciate it. It's been awesome to be on here, and been a real pleasure. Thank you.
We appreciate it too. I know that for somebody who doesn't do podcasts, it's hard to make time to do something like this and sit down and do it. So we definitely appreciate your time, and we know everybody has a lot going on. So
yeah, right. I got a full-time job and all that. So yeah, no, just call me Stu.com. It's simple. Just call me Stu.com, and home of the unretarded, and we'll get this ball rolling. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
Bill, say it.
Death, fade us out, please.
It's music.
Yep, it'll come there. It'll be there. All right, man. Thank you so much. Much respect and apologies for what you went through, but I feel like you took a beating to learn a lot of stuff, and maybe it was worth it. I know that's easy from an outside perspective, but I hope you feel that way too, because we have to make
now
a positive
is the
out
time.
of everything. Yep.
Now is the time that people need to hear this story. It needs to get out. That book, everybody, justcallmestu.com. Go read it.
We will push the shit out of it. I'll put your link to your book, all of it. If you do a thread, we'll do it, man. People need to hear this. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
gentlemen.
Good night.
Have a great day.
Peace.
All right. Peace.